Good afternoon. Welcome to the November meeting of the Metro Bureau Community Council. First item is to approve the agenda for today. I move it. Do I get a second?
Second. I second.
Are you all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. In the minutes of October 21st meeting were distributed. Any questions about it?
Yeah, I have a question about one thing. The third paragraph, ridership is up 83%, so on platform extenders have been added and some come down and some are wood. Only two train cars can access the platform. I think it should say where that is, at what location or locations that is, that situation. Because it's not on the whole railroad, obviously.
Yeah, it happens to be a new point now, but yeah, it's on the Hudson line. It's Hastings, Dobbsbury, Ardsley, and Irvington. Correct.
So that's it, the record. Yeah.
Right, so the paragraph right before it was talking about Dobbsbury, and that's what led into that paragraph, so it's right underneath it.
Right.
So I'll specify a little better next time.
Okay.
It was all the current of events that happened all together, but yeah, that's why I don't.
With that, I will move the acceptance of the minutes as changed, as corrected.
I'll second it.
Okay, you all in favor? Aye. Francis. Hey, Francis. You said he's trying to get in. He can't get in, Francis.
Tell Kara from check the recent email from Kara. She just resent
There
that.
was Tara just sent you a new one. All right. Derek Fenton, can I ask who you are? Derek Fenton. I see you're part of our Zoom. I see your name, but I don't can't see your face. Can we know who you are, please? If you're on mute, please unmute so you can identify yourself.
You said in the chat that he'll be muted throughout the meeting.
Can you just private message him and ask him where he's from? So we could
We should know that.
Yes.
All right, so
It's a-
your
it's a
minutes are approved.
Concerned citizen.
There we go. Thank you. Tell him.
No? Okay, thank you.
Concerned citizen.
I'm sorry.
He said
Oh,
he's a
can you
concerned
make it
citizen.
yeah.
He just replied, he just typed it.
All right, approval. All right, welcome. All right, so the next item is not too much has happened. Very well attended. Station with speakers. And we know announcement last week about fixing up the Penn Station area, and some of those ideas I had heard about during the behind-the-scenes tours. It was called that acting. Well, he wasn't then; he was just COE president. That acting chair and CEO general meeting took several programs. So I look forward to seeing what happens to that. All right, so the next item is the board report. We're having a board meeting this afternoon. And, for an update on the financial plan. We'll be talking about advertising guidelines and some labor agreements negotiated, but this is something no votes taken at this meeting, just to brief board members on what they can expect at next week's committee and board meeting, which will be held in Broadway over the course, I'm sure that staff will make some public, will participate in the public portion of it. Old business, we have any update? Lisa, you want to talk about old business updates from the staff? I'm sorry, the membership.
I'm sorry, Rich, did you just ask me something?
If you want to talk about membership updates, staff updates.
A membership update. So there's a new sheriff account. So we're hoping that that is going to mean that we get a speedier membership approval. Walter, it would be great to let for us to have a conversation with the Westchester County Executive's Office with Joan about trying to move forward with their candidates to see if, if they're still interested, but also to maybe get the county executive's office to pursue moving them forward in the governor's appointment office. So we've had some movement in your Transit Riders Council, which is terrific, and now we still have we're making slow but steady progress, but it's still not enough. So perhaps we can talk offline about that.
So you're talking about the fact that there are still 3 vacancies for Westchester County.
There should be 2 vacancies for Westchester County.
Putnam they're missing.
There should be 2. That's one of the reasons that we need to update our contact list, right? So that we have a clear count of those. My contact list and all of my vacancy counts are basically written in pencil and pen and crossed out over each other. But there are 2 names that are currently up there that did not that have not been moved. There were 3 names, Walter and 2 others, and the other 2 moved. The 3rd name that was up there was for the Bronxborough president candidacy, or Wilhelm Ronda, but he withdrew his name.
Are the same people that were there before still in charge of that office?
In the Bronxborough president's office, there is a new Bronxborough president. So
Yeah.
we'll be taking office in January.
No,
So we need to,
there's still the same people you were dealing with.
and again, in Albany, yes, that's correct. There's a new head of that appointment group, but it hasn't, people who are in charge of that office have been in charge of that office for a long time. So, but we have developed relationships with some of the other people. I need to just show my ticket to the conductor for a second. Excuse me. There are you.
Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up under old business?
That's the one I just did here. So sorry, I'm activating my ticket. Thank you. Apologies, Sandy. Okay, sorry, I had the ticket taker just can't, the conductor just can't.
So we know you paid for it. All
Can you
right.
please ask that question again?
Is there anything else that you want to bring up on the old business? No pressure.
So we'll, if Walter, perhaps if we can set something up, a conversation to follow up, that would be terrific.
Anybody here have anything on the old business they want to bring up?
I heard last time, Lauren had raised a question about the accessibility of this intersection. And I don't know where that's at. is happening with that? I'd just like to know what the status of that is.
Right.
Allocation effort. And so we have to go through our files to see contact, and we're going to reach back out to them. We haven't had a chance to do that yet, but we do have that under the action item minutes. We have that listed there, so we are going to be following up on that. And as soon as we do, we'll place where that stands and what the next step.
Because the outbound platform at Suffern is not accessible, and there was a time that it was. And right around when ADA became effective, the village of Suffern put a gate across there that was never opened. And the platform became inaccessible when you have to walk up a flight of stairs or walk down the railroad tracks in order to get to it, either of which is desirable.
Okay, yeah, we're going to follow up on that.
You know, with the funding of the staff, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, that includes a lot of money for accessibility projects. I saw Q this morning at Grand Central, and we spoke about, you know, what this could mean for accessibility, and maybe, you know, maybe this is something we push for out of those funds. You know, I am literally leaving a press conference with Senator Schumer talking about accessibility projects. So maybe this is something we continue that conversation with him on. Happy to do that.
Okay. Go ahead.
On the Suffern Station. Obviously, New Jersey Transit put its emphasis on ramps in Route 17 and really doesn't care much about what happens at Suffern. It's in New York State. And Randy and I had a meeting with the chairman, Chairman Ford, a while ago, about doing something about this station and having the MTA take it over. That's the only way I think we really get some action on this station, that the MTA maintains it. Because New Jersey Transit, it said, look, it's in New York State, you know, we don't really don't want to have too much to do with it. You know, and our emphasis is to be on ramp 17, which has accessibility for the handicapped, and it's a modern station.
And I know that there have been some correspondence in the past with Kathy Rinaldi on this issue as well. And she had talked about the council pursuing more station accessible. And then we can also, I think Randy and I participate in Metro North, or the Metro North Accessibility Task Force. And so once we get some more information, we might be able to find.
Yeah, and the county explains that also.
Yeah.
Have the MTA ever considered taking that over? And if so, what would that look like?
You have to have an agreement with the state of New Jersey that transfer the ownership of it. Right. It only came, you know, when this whole thing was set up, before when Conrail was going out of business, New Jersey Transit decided they wanted to run the train. They wanted responsibility to up Suffern and west of Suffern came to Metro. So that's why they come.
Yeah, I assume NJ Transit owns it.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Like, say on the westbound side, there's a roadway that goes right alongside parallel to the railroad tracks. But there's a fence there, there's a gate at the fence, and that gate is always open, so people could walk in and out of there. Get on the platform without climbing stairs. But now they've got that gate closed and locked, and you have to climb stairs to get to the westbound platform if you wanted to go.
Second underpass.
Or getting off a train from New York, you have to go down the stairs to get out of there. There's no way to get out of there without walking, or else walking over the railroad bridge over the roadways, which is certainly very unsafe.
Yeah.
But I see people doing
It's
it.
not ADA compliant.
Oh, no.
No,
So why they haven't seen it?
the thing is, they actually made it less accessible than it was before ADA took effect,
Right,
which is illegal in my opinion,
yeah.
because you're not supposed to make anything, it may not have to be completely accessible, but don't make it less accessible than it was before the law was enacted. And that's apparently what was done up there.
Both of you are correct. The thing is that if you look at the arrangements of that New Jersey Transit has with Metro North on Nanuet and Pearl River, you know, Metro North has the responsibility of taking care of those stations.
Right.
You know, and I just wonder if there's some sort of, if we can't get full control of the station and ownership of the station, maybe an arrangement like that could be made.
Perhaps so, because Metro North put that canopy that's there, even though it was a New Jersey Transit station, Metro North had that canopy built there, that sheltered a big canopy, and that was not in the Metro North territory, actually, but they did that. So there could be some arrangement made to take it over, either ownership or by lease, or just maintaining it.
Right.
But then that's
You
not
know,
money.
the other thing about,
Yeah.
Metro North. I don't really want to pay it.
Well, and Lisa brought up the example of with the infrastructure builder is additional money in that for accessibility projects.
Okay.
And so we're trying to figure out like kind of what is a wish list for all operating agencies to see funded with these funds.
Okay.
So we're working on that. We can circle back.
Well, that would be a great idea
right,
to add to the wish list. Okay.
that would be, if it's also, Randy is keeping me up to date on what's going on with Nanuet. And
That
quite a bit of
station,
work
they have a
at
revive
Nanuet.
there. It was done about 2 years ago, so that's a good shape. So the station itself, the shelter is being replaced. It's a very slow process, but it was supposed to be done by the 4th quarter of this year.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
It's not gonna happen.
But you
right
said
now.
Manny was a great example of the accessibility to the state.
Well, they've had the many five for many years. So. All right.
And just one more, thing. Francina mentioned the question of money, and for your information, you may not know this, but the revenue, the ticket revenue from passengers boarding at Suffern going to Hoboken or New York City, that's exclusively NJ Transit revenue. Metro North does not get any part of that revenue. Metro North gets the revenue from passengers who travel west of Suffern, gets the entire revenue. Hoboken or New York, well, New York is another matter, but Hoboken to Suffern, I mean, Hoboken, everything west of Suffern goes to Metro North. But the Suffern travel from Suffern east is purely New Jersey Transit revenue, just so you know that.
Right, so you're making plenty of money on that station.
But on the Pascack Valley line,
I know, it's done differently.
I think I think that was part of the reason of trying to get Metro North to, that was part of the impetus of trying to get Metro North to keep over Suffern so that they would at least recoup something in their ticket, through ticket revenue.
In that agreement you signed that they made, as far as the responsibility of which would be in charge of which station, is there an expiration on that?
It gets, it's a service agreement that gets renewed every 2 years between NJ Transit. I don't remember when this one was going to.
right,
All right, we lost Francis. Right. All right,
Right,
let's
remember
move on
that.
to something else. Let's
that
move on.
Nanuet and Pearl River and Spring Valley are all, even though they're actually owned by New Jersey Transit, are still considered Metro North stations from a revenue standpoint.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that's what he's
No,
saying. It's
the
not.
stations are responsibility of Metro.
And I'm just wondering when the agreement expires, so that way we know
Gets
when we know when to raise the issue. Now,
So far, the operating agreement.
all right.
All right, so if there's any new business? We have-
Well, we still have a couple of things that we discussed and maybe still open. We talked about timetables. And I have a concern, and I know Westchester County has a concern, that Metro North is still not printing timetables. Now, I understand the timetables are shifting and changing, and so maybe it's okay not to print big timetables, but I will tell you that in Boston, in Philadelphia, well, even I was just in Florida, I tried there in Florida, are printing timetables, as in Chicago, they're putting out timetables like this, which is like photocopies, so they can change them from time to time. But they're in big boxes, and they have about 10 different commuter lines in Chicago, and each one has a timetable. They're not fancy printed timetables, but they are sheets that give you the information you need that you can carry with you. And I would suggest that Metro North at least do something like this for the time being, while, until the schedule gels, we know exactly what it's going to be, and then they should go back to printing the timetables again.
I agree with Paul.
That's a good idea.
They have them on the internet, PDFs, but they're very, very abbreviated versions of what they used to have. They used to put the entire timetable on their website, like the Long Island Railroad thankfully continues to do, and all the information on it, zones and costs and all the special instructions. Theirs is, now it got a little bit better, but it's not where I want it to be. So I hope to speak to somebody a little while later on this afternoon, improving that, getting back to doing the storage, and then going back to printing time. Although I understand that the Long Island Railroad, they don't even have printed a kiosk that has the printed timetables. That's probably something that Jerry and LIS. All right, so there's
One other thing that I need to mention, and this is not really within the jurisdiction of this committee, but people at Groveland on Hudson are complaining about engine noise from the Harmon shop. Now, the county executive's office is getting complaints. They mentioned this to me also. A resident of Groveland on Hudson got my phone number and called me about this, and talked to me about this, and claims that the noise is banging or echoing off the buildings, and who knows what, I don't know. But it's something that should just be mentioned in Metro North, that it is a concern to a lot of people in the village of Groveland on Hudson, and they will probably go political with it. It's, I think, a political issue more than it doesn't affect the commuter service, which is what we're concerned about. But nevertheless, all of life, it's quality of life for those people who get this noise, and you know, it ought to be mentioned to them and see if anything can be done to improve the situation.
Message from Richard.
Is this a new problem? The noise?
It's been there a while, but it seems to have gotten a little worse. It got better, and now it's getting worse. And they built some new buildings there. And the lady who called me about this said it bounces off these new buildings. And, you know, that's a whole story. I'm not an acoustical engineer. I don't know.
Is this a
But-
new issue?
That's what I'm wondering.
Like, it seems like this has been an ongoing issue.
Years ago it went on years ago, and then it seemed to have been fixed, and there were no more complaints for a long time. And now he's starting to be complaints again. The county executive's office mentioned to me a couple months ago about this, and they've been getting complaints. So we'll start with Metro North and see what they can do with it. There are some things that maybe can be done.
Old business? New business?
So we just sent out an email this morning with a couple of items to all PCC members. The first one is just the intake press release and the new leadership as we come through. The new leaders are in the back rooms and everything. The other item on that is we've set up a Google Drive photo drop place where members, if you take pictures, you can upload their relative, something for the council, whatever, you can drop those pictures in that Google Drive and you have access to them and you can share them.
So like the
everybody.
picture
So
from last.
Randy sends a tons of pictures, so Randy, you can start putting those in the Google Drive. and
If
have
you
access
this
to
is the
them.
email that was sent out.
Can you do it?
What?
Yeah, we sent
We sent the link.
this morning from Jess.
Did you move the pictures there already? I
No.
sent you
No,
previously?
this is,
No,
we're
we
gonna,
will be transferring all the pictures over into this, so everyone has access to all of it. Yeah, so we'll move all the.
Right, any new ones
over.
on it.
starting now, going forward,
Right.
anything you have, we'll send to the Google link. What else
So
do we
that's
have?
our
And then-
website up and running.
Yeah, so that's
That's
the
the
third
next
item,
item.
is
Oh,
we
okay.
finally figured out a lot of the editing things on that we had to address on our and on the website, and then our web developer fixed all the glitches. So we have provided that to everybody, so you guys can go through that, comb through it, look at everything, see how it functions, offer any concerns or recommendations to improve it. Everybody files up on there. We did explain that we are going to be going through the bios because to just make them more consistent, so that before we make any final changes, we will contact individual members with what was there before and what the adjustments are to get everybody's approval.
All right, good.
And if we have some headshots, if anyone does have headshots, please send them, but if you don't, we're trying to work out how we can get headshots and he's planning to take down the old website this weekend and put up a new website this weekend. So if you're having to get it the immediate emergency thing or whatever, just let us know by Friday by noon. That way we can adjust it before it goes live. So we can continue to make changes to the content.
So when someone clicks on PCAC, they automatically send to the new website.
Yeah, after this weekend.
Oh, good, then once everything gets updated, it's gonna
So, do you have any input or
Well,
whatever?
definitely, when I saw the link, I didn't have a chance to read my emails.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're not trained.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but it's really good. And with it, we explain it in the email. Our old website, you had no idea what the councils mean, what LIRCC means, what MNRCC means. So this way now it's divided by our content, and each council has its own landing page with all the information. So that when people who are not familiar with us go to the website, can really understand who we are, and that is really apparent on our old website.
Okay.
So it's much
So if you need headshots of any of us, then let us know, okay? I think I sent you one.
Maybe you did.
We'd
Yeah.
be standing by a
You
train.
can take one right now. You have the meetings over.
Yeah, we can, I'll go.
No, I want to stand by a train.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, we'll look through it, and if not, we'll reach out.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's that.
Is there anything else? All right, so I'll make a motion for- Oh, before,
I
that was-
want to do a question.
Yeah.
The link, that the website is going live, does that go on the MTA's website?
there is a link to.
The MTA, I can't remember exactly, I think it's under transparency or something, but if there is a place for the permanent citizens advisory committee on the MTA's website, and that forwards to our site. Basically, the URL will be exactly the same as it was before, so that link will work once it goes live.
Yeah, I don't, I haven't looked on the new website to see how you get to it. but I'll try to- All right, PCAC 12/9, right, December 9th?
Yes.
2 Broadway. And I think we'll have, this goes to calendar for proposed 2022, will be there.
I'm working on
Okay, great.
it. I am, well, halfway through it, so I have to have.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor? Oh, one question.
Does the concerned citizen?
Aye.
Who said hi?
Francis.
All right,
Francis, you got something for us?
Nope. All good.
all right, so, all right, so I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for participating.
Thanks. All be well.
All
All
right,
right, bye.
happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.